So, I know it came out last week, but I'm here to talk about it now. So, Star Wars, Star Wars Rogue One. About said Force Awakens for some reason. Whatever. So Star Wars Rogue One came out last week, but I'm reviewing it today because, you know what, I saw it today for the first time. So you know what, whatever. Let's talk about that in the video, even though it's like 1 in the morning. But whatever, it doesn't matter. So yeah, let's check that out. Hello fellow YouTubers, Rich Mixed here, and welcome to another video, and today I am reviewing, Star Wars Rogue One. I couldn't think of it for a brief second for some reason, don't know why, don't ask me, but whatever. Okay. Okay. So Star Wars Rogue One, this movie basically actually does a good job at what what's supposed to do. Is it absolutely a great movie, a must-see movie? Well, if you're a Star Wars fan, duh, it is. It's Star Wars. Every Star Wars movie is a must-see, even if you know it's a piece of crap. It's just a given. But whatever. So, Star Wars Rogue One, in case you don't know what it's about, it's basically about the group that stole the Death Star plans. And our main character, by the way, I'm going to be spoiling some things in this, so spoiler warning, I guess, just so you guys know. I'll get into some more spoiler things. So, basis of the plot, like, basically, they are trying to steal the plans for the Death Star, and they end up going on this huge adventure. Huge fight happens, blah blah blah. We know how it all ends, but everything ties together perfectly in this movie. This movie ties the Star Wars franchise together perfectly. Like, if you were to watch this movie and then A New Hope right after it, it would be like amazing. Like, A New Hope was like, this movie was made first, and then A New Hope came after that. It's like that. Of course, you can. Although there are some instances where some characters that, some actors who played characters in A New Hope, either A, aren't as young as they were then, or B, flat out died. You can tell where CGI made. But yeah, whatever. So that's just sort of a given. Just filling plot holes. And by the way, if you were going to see this movie for Darth, just because you want to see Darth Vader, he actually isn't in it much. So if you've been hearing that, just so you know, it is 100% true. He's not in it much, but the scenes that he is in it are amongst my favorite. Now, now I wish deep down that he was more prevalent in the movie, though, personally, as he was my favorite aspect of that movie. Like, yes, I get it and everything. The whole, like, epicness that was going on. By the spoiler warning starting now. The whole epicness of what was going on. Whole fighting Jen or so, our main protagonist. And all this stuff just going down. It's crazy. It's insane. No one could have seen it coming, I guess. I don't know. Something like that, I guess, to that effect. Whatever. So, anyways, it doesn't really matter, I guess. I keep saying it, yes, like, well, whatever. And so, like, spoiler alert, and I keep saying spoiler alert too, but spoiler alert, everyone dies in the end. All the main characters die. And there wasn't really any situation of any love or anything, which is actually interesting, because it's the first Star Wars movie to not fit the tone of your typical space opera. And if you don't know what that is, you can go look up the film theorist. They did a frame by frame about it. And frame by frame is awesome, by the way. If you're a movie enthusiast, just go check it out. It's amazing. But whatever, I'm not here to talk about that. So yeah, fun stuff like that, I guess. But you know, whatever. And there was just so many high moments. The movie took a little bit to get going. Like the first 3 minutes is like okay. It was explaining, setting things up, and I liked Rogue One because it was different. There was a reason. There were a few reasons why I didn't like Force Awakens because it wasn't something new and exciting. Like when I like Abrams' take on the Star Trek series for one reason, and one of my biggest reasons I love his take on it is because he literally he reinvented it. He took a series that's been going on for so long and he remade it. He made it his own by adding some things in there, and so it changed the plot line progression of time. And he could seriously just do whatever he wanted with it now. It wasn't just It wasn't basically a remake. Um, but unfortunately, he didn't do that for Force Awakens. He knows how to take a movie franchise that has literally died, bring it back to life, but doesn't need to do a nostalgia factor to bring it back to life. He obviously, in order to truly revive it, he needs somewhat of nostalgia, but not to the point where it's okay, the whole movie is just a nostalgia fest, because unless you are connected with that nostalgia, it's not gonna be that great. It's oh, I've seen this already. But if you're you grew up watching it, it's gonna be great. That was the only downfall of that. This, though, if you didn't like Force Awakens, you were probably gonna like this. I like this movie. I mean, it's not the greatest movie of 2016, but it was a pretty good movie. And yes, it did have some down moments and stuff like that. And yes, Jen Erso as a character, I wasn't all that big of a fan of. I felt like she really wasn't emotionally driven. And the main bad guy I thought was really stupid. He was a waste of a bad guy. I felt there were plenty. Darth Vader would have easily made a great bad guy. Easily. The bad guy was whiny, annoying, obnoxious. I just wish he shot himself. Quite literally, he was that dumb. It's no, don't do it. And there's there were a few plot holes in it. Some lines of dialogue that for me, I just personally didn't like. But Jen Erso as a character, I wasn't the biggest fan of, and stuff like that. I'm seriously, she just didn't seem to click for me. I guess I don't know. She just didn't get all the right vibes. And seriously, what's up with all the British actors? Not that I would promote British. It's the Star Wars movies now. It's a custom for the main character, the new main characters they added, to oftentimes have British characters playing the roles. If you pay attention, Ray's British, and Jen Rosso, whatever, is British too. Whatever, but that's just a nitpick minor. So going back to her character overall, it's just sort of something else, I guess. I'm not the biggest fan of what it is, and I know you can have your own opinion, but personally, I just didn't like her as a character. So the main bad guy and the main antagonist and the main protagonist, I wasn't the biggest fan of, and I felt that's where the movie fell short. Plus, in the beginning, it had some pacing issues, so that's another place where it fell short. And the more I thought about this movie, it's definitely interesting, and it does connect everything. And the ending of the movie is perfect, and that in the last act of the movie nails every note almost perfectly. It's amazing. Everyone dies. Yes, it happens, but things work out in the end, and you see how things come to be. And it's actually really cool. We do get to see some lightsaber action from Darth Vader. And ultimately, the end of the final 30 minutes of that movie were perfect. And the movie, I loved that ending. The ending was perfect. It's just the first act of the movie sucked miserably. It had terrible pacing. It felt more like it was just exposition for the most part. We basically were just saying, hey, this is what's going on. We're going off of a rumor, and stuff like that. We're just saying, we're just being plopped in the middle of this, and we're just giving some basic stuff. And that's what basically the first act of the movies ran on. It's not much, and so it really felt that it has some pacing issues. If they could have like maybe sped things up a bit, made things like more fast paced and like more things more fluent, I would have made it would have worked a lot better, I guess. And it wouldn't be such a weak link in the movie. And like people were also saying like the robot was pretty funny or whatever. But personally for me, like he had a couple funny lines, but nothing like, oh, that was absolutely hilarious. I loved it, but like he was an alright character. And I wasn't like heartbroken or anything when he died. I mean, it was like, oh, he died. That's sad. At least he died protecting the main protagonist, and what I thought would have I personally thought like it would have made like a great romantic moment at the very end of the movie. But I guess that's cheesy, but that's also suiting of the sort of, if you think, that really fits the other Star Wars movies really well. But overall, that last thing, by the way, was just nitpicking, just so you know. But anyways, overall, the movie was a great movie, and if you're looking for a Star Wars movie, if a new Star Wars movie to get you back into the series, if Force Awakens pulled you out, then Rogue One is definitely that movie that's going to really draw you in back into the series and hopefully revitalize it for you if you weren't a fan of Force Awakens. So ultimately, and plus, if you watch this, it does leave some questions. So if you watch this and you haven't watched the original trilogy, I recommend that you watch it. It is definitely worth the watch, and it's definitely worth the time. Anyways, though, so quick announcement before this video ends. There's two things I want to talk about. First thing I want to talk about is Christmas Day. I'll be uploading 5 videos, each of which being a top 5, all related to Christmas. So that I'm going to be working around the clock to get those finished and edited so I can upload those. In the end, I will place the schedule there, like at the end of this whole thing, so you'll be able to see the schedule and everything. Also, other thing I want to talk about, in case you're not notified whenever I upload something, here's how you can be uploaded. Here's how you can be uploaded, guys. Okay, so here's how you can be notified. Okay, so here's how you can be notified of whenever I upload a video. So basically, if you're on a mobile device, you simply just have to go tap the bell, and you'll notice on the page, and you're notified. If you're on a computer, though, just go click on the bell, and then check the box, then hit save, and then you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And also do subscribe. That does help. So leave a like on this video. It is very useful. Share this video with your friends. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more, subscribe. I'll see you all later in the next video. And out.